News recently broke that Attack the Block, the cult sci-fi comedy film responsible for making John Boyega a star, was getting a sequel. This sequel comes from French production company Studio Canal, British production company Film 4, and Complete Fiction Pictures, the production company formed by Edgar Wright, Nira Park, Joe Cornish, and Rachel Pryor. Attack the Block centered around teenage gang leader Moses, played by Boyega, and his friends stepping up to defend their neighborhood when he becomes the target of an alien invasion. The British film was a surprise hit in 2011, with critics and audiences, despite it underperforming at the box office. So why return to it now, almost 11 years later? Well, why not? The film's growing fan base over the years is enough to warrant a sequel, because it means that this time around, the movie can be an even bigger hit financially for the studio. Because the film cost only £8 million to make, and only made just over half of that amount, with a 4.1 million return. A sequel will definitely cost more to make, but still be relatively cheaper since this is a small film and not a big budget movie. It's now a property that has exposure to audiences in the United Kingdom, as well as internationally. Not to mention, the original's breakout star John Boyega is now a household name, and an even bigger actor than he was prior to landing his first starring role in the movie. With a British actor returning to his roots, it's sure to bolster this sequel and make it a must-watch for fans and newcomers to the franchise. Since his turn as Moses, Boyega has become an incredible talent that continues to impress on whatever project he's attached to. Whether it be his role in the recent Star Wars trilogy as Finn, Catherine Bigelow's Detroit, or his most recent role, starring as Leroy Logan in Steve McQueen's Small Axe miniseries. The actor is always bringing his A-game. Boyega coming back to this small role shows his affinity to the character he played, and that despite becoming a big name, he isn't too huge of a star to appear in a smaller project. Now he's not only set to return as Moses, but also have a producer's role behind the scenes. The actor's production banner, Upper Room Productions, will have a hand in the sequel. What I'm interested in seeing is how different will his character be 10 years after an incident like the one he survived in the first film. Will his character still be a part of his gang? There's so much you could do with the character. I think most fans of the actor will agree that this is one of his best roles, so there's going to be some nostalgia seeing him play an older Moses. Joe Cornish, who wrote and directed the first film, will also be back to pen the new script and direct the upcoming sequel. Having Cornish back is another promising sign for this sequel. The British writer did a great job on the first film, and while he hasn't really done anything big since his debut, I thoroughly enjoyed his last feature film, The Kid Who Would Be King. It showed that he still hasn't lost his touch as a filmmaker. His last movie, coupled with his work on Steven Spielberg's The Adventures of Tintin and Marvel Studios' Ant-Man, is impressive. Both films had a fantastic script, which he contributed towards. I look forward to seeing what story he will create for this sequel and how it will expand the concept of the first film, now that we have the groundwork laid out. The first Attack on the Block movie was very small in terms of scope, taking place on a London council estate. Will they keep the same format and have it be a self-contained story, or will it be on a larger scope? I think it's important not to rehash the same story, but also not to stray too far from the formula that made us enjoy the first entry. Hopefully the idea behind this new adventure is one that elevates the first film and adds to the idea behind the alien creatures. This sequel can be good, if not better than its predecessor. If anyone can do this film justice, it's the creator. Cornish doesn't strike me as someone who rushes the creative process, so the script that he made for this sequel must be something good to have it be greenlit by the same production companies that his original film ended up losing money they invested into making the director's project. They must be happy with the script and see the potential in the property to make a bigger splash this time around, especially with Boyega on board to headline the sequel. Right now, not much is known about the plot, which is still on the wraps. Since Boyega is returning, I would love to see the former film's cast return for the sequel. While his character is probably the most important person needed to make this project work, since he was a key player and the face of the first movie, he was just one of the people who helped us connect with the story. If Boyega can return, I'm sure the doors are open for other cast members to return as well. They definitely need to contact Jodie Whittaker, who is currently playing the Doctor in the hit BBC One sci-fi drama series Doctor Who. I'm sure as busy as the actress is playing the Time Lord, she would be happy to work the film into her schedule. She doesn't have to have a significantly large role. Even a small cameo would be enough to at least show us how her character Samantha Adams has progressed in her career. In the original movie, she was a student nurse who had only just graduated, so by now, she would be at the height of her profession. Alex Esmail was another key character who played Pest, the loyal second-in-command to Moses. His character was the youngest member of the gang, and the one with the biggest gob that couldn't stop talking. Nick Frost as Ron the drug dealer. At the time, the actor was the most recognizable star in the film, and helped add some of the humor. Finally completing the ragtag team was Luke Treadaway as Brewis, a posh stoner student who was a customer of Ron. With the exception of Whittaker, all their characters, including Moses, were last seen being arrested, since it was believed they were responsible for the deaths around the block. They all shared a similar experience on that night that no one else would have been able to relate to. So seeing a reunion between this group of people would be a nice way to jump back into the story and the new adventure that awaits them. Who would have thought that 10 years later, we would revisit Attack on the Block? I really want to see this project flourish and get the success it deserved 10 years ago. This has so much potential as a franchise that could go even beyond being a two-part story. But let's see how the sequel comes together in the next year or so, and how the film turns out. Then we can talk about it being a potential trilogy. For now, let's be happy that the lead star is returning, as well as the director who came up with this original idea. That alone makes me confident in this all coming together nicely. Currently there is no release date for the upcoming sequel, but I can't imagine they wouldn't start filming between this year and next year for at least a 2022 or 2023 release date. So what are your thoughts? Do you think we need another Attack on the Block film? Is it worthwhile turning this into a franchise? Let me know in the comments below. Anyways folks, that's all for now. Thank you for watching and I hope you enjoyed the show. Please feel free to subscribe, like and comment below. And hey, maybe this wasn't your cup of tea. And that's okay. Just remember to take care and stay safe.